Listening to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 174, Romanticizing Stress. We are, all of us, stressed right now. If we are alive and if we are doing anything at all, trying to accomplish anything at all, we are unavoidably stressed. Stress is often said to be many things that it is not. Stress is real, but it does not really help anyone to call things that are not stress, and that to likewise call what is stress something else. We need to put things in the right places when it comes to this. And that's what we will do in today's episode. So let's start with what stress is. Stress is motion. If we roll a boulder down a hill, that boulder will be difficult to stop. It is heavy and it is in motion. It will take great effort and know-how trying to stop the boulder, if it's even possible at all. And we are the same. We are, all of us are like that boulder. We are carrying a lot. And at some points throughout the sort of spiral of history, everything that we are, everything that we carry, gain momentum, build up speed, build up motion. And this particular juncture in history that we are in right now is such a point in history when everything that we are, everything that we carry is rolling down the hill, tumbling down the hill, building up momentum, building up motion. And our experience, our personal, physical, mental, soul experience of this motion is what we call stress. Or at least is what we should call stress. This massive momentum of us tumbling down the hill, that is stress. That's what we should name stress. And then to talk about what stress is not. Many things are called stress these days. And the topic in itself is almost difficult to touch upon without getting confused. As stress is being dealt with, it is being dealt with in a very confusing way. Most often when we hear people talk about stress, use the word stress, it is used in a very confusing way. So basically, anytime we hear someone talking about stress and we feel confused from listening to it, then it is probably part stress, but probably more something else. Today's episode is called Romanticizing stress. And we are talking about this today because it is a prevalent phenomenon. It is common. It is occurring in many different shapes and forms. So basically, stress is whenever a lot that we are is tumbling down and building up speed, building up motion. Basically, stress is the opposite of pausing. Stress is when we just let ourselves go and just go faster and faster and faster, and we give up on pausing. Two things are occurring at the same time in this age, in this period of time, and that is that stress is being romanticized, that building up motion and going faster and faster out of control is being talked about in positive or aesthetical wording. And at the same time, the second thing happening right now is that pausing is being frowned upon. Pausing is being condemned or judged as something negative, something non-desirable. This is backwards. This is backwards. What we should do is the opposite. We should romanticize pausing, or at least speak about it in positive terms. And stress, or just giving in to stress, is something we should frown upon, something we should talk about as weak. That is a harsh word, but to give in to stress is weak. To just go faster and faster is weak. You have great energy in you. You have so much inside of you. You are a lot. And a lot about you is tumbling down the hill. And that is painful. That is rough. That is very difficult to pause. Pausing is difficult. Pausing is sometimes very difficult. Pausing is sometimes almost impossible. But just because something is difficult, just because something is so difficult that it is almost impossible, still, that is not reason to look down on it. The opposite. Just because something is difficult doesn't make it less right. And in these times, pausing is very uncommon. It is so uncommon, it is so rare that it is almost absent completely. But just because something is very uncommon does not make it less right. Many people are romanticizing stress right now. Many people are sort of rationalizing, telling themselves and others that building up motion and doing a million things is desirable. It is not. Many people, especially famous people, very prolific figures, are romanticizing their own stress. They even romanticize doing drugs in order to be able to do more. This is absurd. And what they are doing more and more and more, and even doing drugs in order to do even more, it is weak. And no one is telling them that it is weak. Everyone is telling them, or at least many are telling them that, yes, do more. Keep pushing ahead, that's great. It's not. It's uncontrolled. It's uncontrolled madness. Is it extreme? Yes. Is there vast energy in what they are doing? Yes. But is it good? No. No. The point we are at in history is very unfortunate. Sometimes we as people reach unfortunate points throughout history. It is natural to sometimes reach points where we find ourselves acting absurdly, celebrating madness and putting down something nice. And right now we have reached such a point where we celebrate madness. We celebrate giving in to just losing control and just pushing ahead completely recklessly. And that is not cool. That is not it's not superior. I'm using words now that are commonly used in this context. It is not alpha. That's another word being used. It's not alpha. It's not manly. It's not based. That's another word being tossed around. It's not based. It's not pilled. It's being called red pilled, black pilled, all of these terms being thrown around. It's not pilled. Or maybe it is pilled. Maybe they are doing drugs. I don't know. It is not anti-establishment, as it is being called sometimes. It is not the future, as it's being called. All of these terms are part of this romanticizing. Romanticizing, giving up our personal control to whatever, just giving it up to whatever has the most reckless momentum. That is not romantic at all. It's just sad. It's just giving up who you are as a person and just becoming whatever is most reckless. It's just weak. The alternative to this, to romanticizing stress, is not fun. It's not fun to pause all the time. Many times pausing is a pain. It is just very difficult. The alternative to this recklessness is not easy. It is not pleasant not in any romantic sense. It's kind of brutal sometimes. It is very difficult to even try to slow down that boulder or to even try to take responsibility for it. It is not easy. It's not. But it is right. It is the right thing. It is the thing that at least a little makes us feel like ourselves in crazy times. The main reason for why we pause at all is that it reminds us of who we want to be. It reminds us of that, who we were as kids, who we were growing up, who we were becoming young adults, who we were becoming adults, who we were building something as adults. Wherever we are throughout life, pausing reminds us that we are one and the same person, that we are a whole person, that we are what is the word I'm trying to find here? That we are right in the world. That is the main difference. Giving in to stress, just rushing ahead, is not romantic at all. It is sad and weak. But at least trying to pause once in a while, trying to pause for a second or two, trying to simply acknowledge that we are a boulder tumbling down the hill. That is honorable. That is dignified. That is the right thing to do. And just because it is uncommon right now does not make it less right. It is right. Difficult? Yes, immensely difficult, but right. Takes practice. Practice and practice and practice, but still is the right thing to do. Because it helps us feel like ourselves at the end of the day. And that's the point of everything. Why otherwise bother with anything if we do not feel like ourselves? It's completely pointless. Then it's just a wasted life. Romanticizing stress is a wasted life. And yes, many famous people are doing it. Yes, many rich people are doing it. Many flashy people are doing it. But it is a wasted life. And they too deserve to feel like themselves. And they don't. They don't. They are telling us that they do, but they don't. They do not pause, so they don't. If they would be pausing, then we would be talking. But they're not. They're never pausing. They're just pushing and rushing and recklessly stampeding. They've given up on who they were and who they are. And romanticizing because they've given up on themselves. That's it for today. Thank you.